All right, good afternoon, PTA students and staff members. Thank you for attending this year's St. Edward's Gun Control Forum. My name is Trace Bednors. I am the head of the Hilltopper newspaper. And today, the purpose of our panel is to debate the gun control laws here on campus. To my left, we have Cesar Guerrero. He's the chief of police, and he's been a police officer here for 15 years. We have Josh Gibbs, who was randomly selected from a survey we had. He is a student here at St. Edward's. And we have Adam Schnitzer, who is the president of the Students Alliance for Pacifism. Audience members, I now ask that you please turn off all electronic devices and hold all questions to the questions and answering session at the end. And panelists, you will have 1 minute to respond to each question. So let's begin with the questions. Cesar, what is your stance on open carry on campus?
I'm Cesar Guerrero. I'm a chief police officer, and I'm for open carry. I believe that the university should allow carry on campus because a student or a faculty or someone with a gun can stop an attacker in case of a dangerous attack. And 25% of shootings happen in educational places. This makes universities a place that is very likely to have a shooting. And cities that allow open carry have shown to have lower crime rates, and I believe that will have the same effect at universities. So I am for open carry.
Thank you, Cesar. So the same question for you, Josh. What is your stance on open carry on campus?
My name is Josh Gibbs. I'm a student at St. Edward's, and I am neutral to open carry on campus because according to a study by the Statesman, it's shown that Texas police chiefs have had a hard time distinguishing the difference between criminals and bystanders who are participating in open carry, which makes it uncomfortable for me to think about people on campus with a gun. However, with school shootings being as unexpected as they can be, I can see a need to be armed in an act of desperation if authorities aren't there to help. So I am neutral to open carry.
Thank you for your input, Josh. Now, Adam, what is your stance on open carry on campus?
How's it going? My name is Adam Schnitzer. And before I answer that question, I just want to give a little background on my organization, SAP, Students Alliance for Pacifism. We're a organization that started at St. Edward's about a year ago, and we're really trying to keep the peace on campus. And my stance would be, I'm totally against guns. I need our organization. We want to keep the culture that we feel like has started at St. Edward's, and we want to keep that in place. So that's where I stand.
All right, thanks for your input, Adam. Cesar, what steps do you think a university should take in the event of a shooting?
I believe that the first step that should have been taken is always call the police first, because they are trained and know how to respond to this type of occurrence. But the problem is that the shootings usually happen when no one is expecting them. So there's usually no police or no law enforcement nearby. So this is when open carry can really help stop an attack. For example, in Columbine massacre, there were 13 deaths, and there was no one armed in the building. And I believe that there would a lot of less people who had been killed if there was a gun or someone with a gun defending other people inside the building. So yes, so I believe that it would make a lot of difference.
Thank you, Cesar. Josh, what steps do you think a university should take in the event of a shooting?
Well, I think the first step, above all, should be to alert the proper authorities and have students clear hallways, bathrooms, anywhere that has unlocked doors, just to make sure that you can be in the most secure place nearby. And let police do their job. I think that it's a very unwise decision to go out and try to defend the school or whoever by using your open carry, and because your life could be in danger. And if the shooter comes into the classroom, however, I can see where self-defense could be necessary just because there's nowhere else to go. So that's what I think.
All right. Thank you, Josh. Adam, the same question for you. What steps do you think a university should take in the event of a shooting?
Well, first of all, I think notify the local authorities is the first step always. I don't think anyone should try and play hero. I think personally, I wouldn't trust a gun in the hands of anyone who doesn't know how to use it. I think that can only increase the level of stress in the situation and the possibility of more casualties. I think it's a very dangerous situation. So I think notify the authorities and just listen to what they say. Like, use common sense. Don't try and be a hero. Don't go out and try and stop the shooter. Just hide and take shelter. And yeah, that's my stance on the issue.
Thank you, Adam. So now it's time to move on to the individual questions. Caesar, let's start with you. Have concealed carry laws been effective in places they've been used?
Concealed carry laws have been very effective in the states that allow it. For crime rates of states that allow open carry have been decreased considerably. For example, in Florida, the homicide rate fell from 36% above the national average to 4% below the national average. And also, here in Texas, murder rates fell 50% faster than the national average. The year that the concealed carry law passed. So therefore, we can see the numbers that they speak for themselves. That this is something really effective, and that should be applied in every campus.
Thank you, Caesar. Josh, do you believe that public universities should be allowed to opt out of open carry laws?
Yes, I do agree that we should have the option to opt out of the open carry because it depends on the school's culture. If you see a school like St. Edward's, it's a small, private, mostly liberal college, and the general consensus has been to opt out of open carry. However, if you go to UT, it's a much larger population and much more conservative beliefs where you don't know who's who, and I think that it depends on how your school votes on the issue, and it should definitely be up to the students and the faculty.
Thank you, Josh. Adam, this last one is for you. What are some of the benefits of St. Edward's being a gun-free zone, and what are groups like yours doing to promote a gun-free culture?
Well, the first obvious benefit of being a gun-free zone is there's no guns on campus. Aside from that, I feel like just the culture associated with a gun-free zone. St. Edward's is a private university, and I feel like everyone here feels a level of protection that we do have a gun-free campus. And changing the culture, and groups like ours are really trying to maintain and keep the culture, like I already said. And I feel like people here I feel like a stronger sense of safety. I think by adding guns to the mix, it would just make it in a place of an environment with a lot of stress already. I think it could really change the way we look at the issue, and it could potentially be really dangerous. So that's what groups like ours are working to do.
Thank you, Adam. So just to recap, we have Caesar, the chief of police, who is for open carry on campus because states with open carry have lower crime rates. We have Josh, a student at St. Edward's, who is neutral because while he sees the advantages of being able to protect yourself, guns are dangerous weapons to be handled and used by trained professionals only. And Adam, the president of SAP, who is against open carry on campus because he believes that adding guns to an already stressful environment can only result in tragedy. So now that we've gone over the questions that I've prepared for my panelists, I would like to open the floor for any audience members who might have any questions. So please fire away.
Yeah, do you feel that your Second Amendment rights are being abused if open carry isn't allowed on campus?
So this question is for you, Josh. Do you believe that by opting out of open carry, your Second Amendment rights are being violated?
I don't think so, because if you're given the choice to arm yourself or not have anyone armed, I believe it is within the Second Amendment right, because you choose not to have guns, or you choose to have guns. It's about the choice. So I do believe that it's definitely constitutional to not have open carry on your campus.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? If that's it, thank you all for coming.
I think there was
do you think there should be a distinction between handguns and assault rifles, like AK-47 to Glock? Should there be
so Caesar, since you are the chief of police, I believe that this would go to you. Do you believe that there should be any distinctions between a handgun, assault rifle?
I believe that there should be a distinction. I believe that the law enforcement are the ones that should have that should be able to carry larger weapons. So, but when you have an open carry permit, I believe that you should only have to be permitted a handgun, because you're not properly trained, and you should not be able to use a assault rifle.
This can be for any of the panelists. A few of you mentioned being properly trained and only skilled professionals being able to carry guns. How does this affect ex-military that might be going to school here?
So the question was, how might this law affect already previously trained military veterans? How might that affect them?
Well, I can take this question, I guess. Answer to the best of my abilities. I think if you've been trained the proper way in order to wield a gun, I think you should be able to, but at the same time, if open carry is not allowed on the campus, I don't think anyone should be able to wield a gun. So with that being said, the point I was making earlier was, if you know how to use a gun and you know how to wield a gun, you should probably be associated with the law enforcement or something like that. By no means am I promoting like a vigilante group or anything like that. Like, I think if the people who know how to protect us and use the
So you're saying
weapons.
all ex-military should become cops?
No, I just think that everyone who knows how to properly use the weapon should be protecting us.
Thank you.
So if open carry was allowed on campus, would you require any classes or do you think there should be classes to be taken to prove that you know how to carry the firearm if you were to have one on campus specifically?
So do you believe that there should be classes training students who want to carry their weapon on campus?
Sorry, just to word it more specifically, do you think if open carry was allowed on campus, that students should carry proof of training?
Okay, so do you think that students should have to carry proof of training?
I'll take this one. Yes, especially if I'm pretty sure if you buy a gun, you have to get a license. So not only having a license, but it would be much more beneficial to own a certificate that showed that you have passed a course or something that represents your responsibility with your gun, and that you know how to properly use it against the right situations. Definitely, if you don't have that permit, you should be abiding by just regular rules of just not carrying a gun in public.
I have just a clarifying question. What is the current regulations regarding concealed carry on campuses? Are those banned too?
So what are the regulations?
Right now,
for-
on St. Edwards, you're not allowed to.
No, is that new? Is that new for the state schools? Does that only apply to?
University of Texas actually open carry is
It's only open carry, it's not concealed carry.
concealed carry.
Oh, so it's both.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can do both at UT.
Just also further clarifying, the legislation that was passed recently was for concealed carry on campus, not open carry, correct?
No, it was open.
But there was open carry for okay.
Let's
Sorry.
So was the recent legislation passed having to do with open carry or concealed carry?
On campuses specifically.
On campuses?
Okay, so I think our form was more in the sense of concealed carry. Yeah.
Well, if that's it for the questions, thank you all for coming.